Hello, Molweni, Sanu, Hujambo, I'm Thembekile Mrototo, and this is Unwrap Africa, where we focus on the latest news, trends, and successes of the African continent. Siyaqaqa. Coming up on the show tonight, we will round up all the biggest stories from the continent. Later, we'll take you to Madagascar, where SADC leaders have stressed that they want to enhance trade, regional connectivity, and economic integration. We'll also bring you more from the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development Summit. And then we'll chat to Mark and Dr. Latesha Blanton, co-founders of travel company The Real South Africa. And then just before we go, our producer Nonhlanhla Mthembu will bring you the flavors of Africa to life with Chef Jessica Uzo. So there's clearly plenty to look forward to this evening, but first we want to ask you a question. We want your take on the decision by the Tanzanian president to approve a policy banning foreign nationals from operating small businesses in that country. Send us your comments via voice note. The WhatsApp number is +278 459 1897. You can also find us on Facebook, SABC Unwrap Africa, and then on X, the handle is SABC News_TV. These are the major news stories from this week. The United States has suspended the processing of most visa applications for Zimbabwe until further notice. That's due to unspecified concerns regarding the Zimbabwean government. Sudan is in the grips of a worsening health emergency, with the Ministry of Health reporting 1,575 new cholera cases. 22 deaths have also been reported in just the past week. It brings the total number of confirmed cases to more than 101,000. 2,000 in fact, 2,515 lives have been lost since the start of this outbreak a year ago. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba this week opened a 3-day summit with nearly 50 African leaders pledging deeper economic and strategic ties. This as Tokyo looks to counterbalance, if you will, waning US engagement as well as China's expanding footprint on the African continent. In Angola, civil society groups are calling on the Argentine Football Federation and star player Lionel Messi to cancel a planned friendly match set for November. The plea follows violent demonstrations in the country which resulted in the deaths of at least 30 people. And Kenya's Rastafari community is growing with the opening of a new tabernacle. The development follows a 2019 court ruling recognizing Rastafari as a legitimate religion. That followed a case where a student was expelled for refusing to cut her dreadlocks. So SADC leaders have in the last few days stressed that they want to enhance trade as well as regional connectivity and economic integration. They've held a summit in Madagascar, that's in Antananarivo, amid pressing global challenges. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina has also taken over as SADC chair. So while Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has been elected as chair of the organ on politics, defense and security cooperation for the bloc, Kylie Kumalo has more for you.
A momentous summit as Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has handed over SADC chairship to his Madagascar counterpart, Andry Rajoelina. Rajoelina has received overwhelming support from his peers in the region.
Your assumption of this esteemed role at the 45th SADC summit here in Madagascar truly marks a historic milestone for Madagascar and reflects the trust as well as the confidence placed in your leadership by your fellow heads of state. As the chairman or chairperson, your vision for accelerating industrialization, transforming agriculture and promoting inclusive energy transition resonates deeply with the aspirations of our region.
The regional bloc is also not spared from global headwinds caused by the Trump administration's trade policy, where a number of countries have been slapped with sweeping tariffs.
We've seen when the rough winds of circumstance demonstrated to us the challenge that faces multilateralism in today's world. We've seen how over-reliance on trade with certain powers of the world has rendered us so fatally vulnerable that we are now dependent on their mood swings. They determine what happens on the African continent. And this is because we've allowed ourselves to fall into a trap of self-loathing, where we've hated not just ourselves but our neighbors on the African continent. We've refused, we've been reluctant to trade with each other, to see and recognize each other's worth. We've come to that point, that inflection point in our history, when we must recognize that we need each other.
The current situation in the Eastern DRC also featured as SADC wants to see stability prevailing in the rest of parts of Congo.
Summit reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to promoting peace, security and stability in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and welcomed the joint mediation efforts undertaken by the African Union Commission, SADC and the East African Community, and the process integrating the Luanda and Nairobi processes, while acknowledging the urgent need for complementarity and harmonization between Africa-led processes with other initiatives, including the Washington Accord 2025 and the Doha Declaration of Principles of 2025.
The SADC leaders have further lamented the dire situation in Gaza as Israel continues to bombard the enclave.
Summit expressed concern over the ongoing attacks on civilians in Palestine, Gaza in particular, which has resulted in the loss of lives, destruction of property, and worsening humanitarian conditions, and called for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, and the commencement of talks to bring a lasting solution to the conflict.
South Africa will succeed Madagascar as chair of SADC in 2026 to 2027. Kylie Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Also this week, President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that his visit to Japan has been impactful as South Africa seeks to deepen trade with various countries. Ramaphosa took part in the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development Summit. Well, this year's gathering took place at a time of unprecedented threats to global peace and disruption to global trade. A number of African leaders were also in Tokyo.
Your Excellency.
As the world is grappling with pressing challenges, this has been an opportune moment for Africa and Japan to fortify ties, especially after the US has imposed sweeping tariffs to a number of countries.
We are also preparing ourselves to open new markets in the light of the tariffs that have been imposed by the United States. And we felt that this is an opportunity. And sometimes out of chaos comes opportunity. And we are now capitalizing on that opportunity that opens up. It opens up in the form of creating new markets for us. And we are finding that a number of countries have been hungry for South African products and have been looking forward to doing business with us. So that, in many ways, much as it may be seen as a devastating blow, the imposition of tariffs, at the same time, it creates an opportunity. As they say in the classics, every cloud has a silver lining.
President Ramaphosa says Pretoria cherishes its bilateral ties with Japan, which remains an influential economy in the world. Some experts say China has made inroads in Africa and Japan is trying to catch up.
I never take the trouble of comparing the two because they're both friends. And Japan has been in South Africa and investing in South Africa for years. And China has been our friend as well and is also investing. And we welcome both because both are beneficial to us. And we will never say, no, we love you better than we love the other one. We will never say that. We embrace both, and both must invest and deal with us to the extent that they can.
The president further welcomed the efforts to try and end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Where we are now, we talk to both, and we're bringing both together. During this peace process now, both Ukraine and Russia talk to us. I've talked to President Putin, who's also reported to me what they are doing. I've talked to President Zelensky, who's also reported to me what they are doing. So it goes to prove that the stance we took was a correct one, and many people are realizing that we were correct.
Meanwhile, bilateral trade between South Africa and Japan has been expanding since the establishment of full diplomatic relations in 1992. Latesha Blanton, SABC News, Johannesburg.
A reminder of our question on Unwrap Africa tonight. We've been asking for your take on the Tanzanian government's decision to approve a policy basically banning foreign nationals from operating small businesses in the country. Let's see what's come in. Observer Mission, says here that she's ill-advised. That's the president, Samia Suluhu. She must focus on them paying taxes. Acumenship knows no nationality. Standing for Justice says this is what we call leadership. Tanzania for Tanzanians, but South Africa for the whole continent. We're going to vote GNU out. Mfanaga Mshengu says very progressive foreign nationals should bring scarce skills or expertise. This one here says protectionist policies are bad. And then one last one, I think, here says, I say Her Excellency is taking the honor placed upon her by those who elected her into office. She's a true patriot and a firm leader. I say that we can only hope and dream to be led by a president like her. Welcome back to Unwrap Africa. Our guests tonight say they're on a mission to tackle stereotypes about Africa through luxury, culture and authentic lived experiences. Mark and Dr. Latesha Blanton left the United States to settle in Johannesburg and then founded The Real South Africa. It's a travel company that curates premium African experiences, particularly for the rest of the African diaspora. And they're with us this evening here on Unwrap Africa. Welcome to you both. Really good to have you with us. And Mark, I was looking at something that you said not too long ago, where you said basically that you were lied to about Africa growing up in the US. What did you mean by that? And how has your perception changed?
Well, the perception has changed, 180 degrees since I've been living here for many years. And of course, I visited here during the World Cup of 2010, which was an amazing time. And then obviously traveling back and forth, got a chance to see it a little bit more over the years. And then we decided to move here. But what we were shown and what we're continuously being shown is that all the negative stereotypes that you can think about a culture or a country or a continent, that's what we are showed in the U.S. And that's how I was showed from 1969 all the way up to this day. So that's basically what's happening.
And Doctor, what has been the experience for you as an African American now living in South Africa on the continent in terms of identity and belonging? Because often those journeys are linked, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, just being able to be here and just be Black or be African has allowed me to basically feel comfortable with myself. I'm free here, and I love the fact that the people accept me here, which is something that I didn't really experience living in the U.S. So just being able to be here and be myself and be free definitely allows me a sense of peace that I didn't have in the U.S.
And what about South Africa said to you, actually, both of you can answer this,
Okay.
we're not only going to stay in this country, but we also want to bring across other people to have the South African experience. Doctor, you can go first.
For me, it was the sense of the peace that I felt, the acceptance that I felt, and I didn't want to keep it to myself. I thought it made sense once he decided to start the company. It made sense for us to bring other people that were of our caliber, that had worked really, really hard and had done all of the right things that they told us to do in the U.S. and still, you know, were being trampled on, that they needed to come here and actually see what it's like to have a luxury lifestyle, be accepted. And that's what it was for me. I wanted to share that with other people.
And Mark, how do you put that sort of experience together when you consider that the story of Africa as a whole that is predominant is that it's a continent of great strife, conflict, hunger, etc.?
Well, it's easy to tell our story, and that's where us visiting on multiple occasions, being able to get a visa coming through the gate fairly easy since we had American passports, and then going back to the United States and telling our story. And people were very interested. I mean, their heads kind of went to the side. It's like, so you're telling me this is in South Africa. So once, you know, obviously we're entrepreneurs, and once we came here, we felt that we needed to put together an actual program and a package or a company that can actually display that, you know, a proper scenario so they can come, travel, see what we see, because that's what we do. We show them what we have seen. And the results pretty much are the same most of the time. You get people who are skeptical, and then you get one person, if it's, say, a husband and wife, who are, the husband is super excited, she's skeptical, and then when it's time to come and we show them the side of South Africa that we see all the time, then that's when they're both are like, do you see what I'm talking about? This is amazing. And then they go back and tell the story. So again, telling the story is the big thing, because the hundreds or maybe the thousands of so people that we brought, they're now telling their stories to other people.
I want to hear then, Mark, about these experiences that you take them on that are changing minds, essentially. So what would a typical experience look like for someone, let's say, who lands from any part of the world, actually, on one of your tours?
Okay, like, for example, first time they would come, they don't know where to go. They don't know anything. And they know no points of reference. So then, of course, there's somebody there with a sign with their name on it, saying, hey, and they're like, wow, I'm in Africa. And that's like a far-fetched thing for most African Americans. And then we take them, everything is private. So they go to an amazing hotel in Johannesburg, particularly, you know, Durban and Cape Town too, have amazing hotels. So we make sure that they're booked there. They go to some top-notch places to eat. You know, the cuisine here in South Africa is second to none, and we've traveled around.
Yeah.
So they get that, and then they get to meet the people. We take them down to Soweto. They do all the things they do in Soweto, and they spend a good amount of time. Like, they go to, what's the name of that restaurant we take them to?
1947.
Yeah, 1947, Latesha restaurant. It's an amazing experience. So there's a lot of experiences, because we live here, that we get to experience on a regular basis, that we incorporate into our packages, which is a little different than what most people normally do. And people get to actually see South Africa. And then the last part of it is that they actually meet South Africans, because people are like, am I going to meet anyone? And then they do, and they're like, wow, the people are amazing. So at the end of the day, all the five-star stuff that we do, if it's not number one, it's number two. And the number, either one or two, is the people are so nice. The people are so nice.
So the people are the best attraction, am I right?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
And at the end of it, what do you want people to walk away with? I mean, I spoke about changing or challenging misconceptions, etc. But what's the one thing you hope that the Americans who come through your tours, who go back home, what message do you hope they give to others back home?
That South Africa is where they need to visit. You need to build a relationship with the continent. It doesn't have to be South Africa, but we just promote South Africa. Build a relationship. Make it so that if you're going on a yearly vacation, make South Africa the point. You spend other times going to the Caribbean or to Mexico, and that's like your family vacation every year. But we want South Africa to be that destination for a yearly travel experience.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure meeting you both. Thank you so much for coming in to Unwrap Africa. That was Mark and Dr. Latesha Blanton, co-founders of The Real South Africa. For more on the journey, by the way, and curated experiences, you can go to therealsouthafrica.com to check out some of their work. This is Unwrap Africa. Much more when we come back. Don't go away. Let's have a look at more of your responses to our questions this evening. Well, our question, rather, this evening, we're asking, what's your take on the Tanzanian president approving a policy banning foreign nationals from operating small businesses in the country? Wakandovu says, I'm of two minds about this. One, it should stand to reason that it's also fine if other countries ban Tanzanian nationals from owning small businesses in their countries. Second one is that in light of the my friend issues in South Africa, or South Africa's townships, it might not be a bad idea to think about it here. Maratelo says it is wrong. We're trying to build a strong bloc like the European Union. If she wants Tanzania to be an island, it's okay. Like Traore and others, she should not attend Southern African meetings. She should not want to benefit from free trade. She must keep her Tanzania. Mugabe did that and failed. Stelo Mehlomuhle says that she must recall her people running small businesses in South Africa, Zambia and the DRC. Tanzanians are some of the poorest people going to other countries for trading in rice and selling shoes, according to Stelo. Malume Habibi says it's a good move. Other countries are putting their citizens first, as it should be. In the UAE, when there's open day, locals don't wait in queues, they get priority. We don't pay the same municipal rates and taxes. One of the few things that show countries put their own first. So in the heart of Johannesburg, Jessica Uzo brings the flavors of Africa to life with a menu that proudly showcases the rich spices of Nigeria, uniting Africans through the universal language of delicious food.
Unwrap in Nigeria means kimepe kiwefu ihyoma dinanriani.
Jessica Uzo believes in serving Africa.
Nigeria on the whole, they said is a giant of Africa, really. The giant of Africa, Nigeria answered is not because of the things they do. But there are so many things like our food. Our food is very healthy. That's the reason why I brought Nigerian spices, Nigerian dishes and delicacy food in South Africa. And then secondly, the food I am cooking or I am preparing is not only meant for Nigeria only. It's meant for the whole of Africa. Botswana, Lesotho, South Africa, Malawi, Zimbabwe. So long as you are in Africa, Nigerian food is okay for everyone to eat. Pap, we'll call it semolina. The South African here, they call pap, but we Nigerians will call semolina. Semolina is made with wheat. It's made out of wheat. Then the second one, we have bitter leaf. We call it bitter leaf soup. Bitter leaf is, you use different types of meat to cook it. In Nigeria, we call it assorted meat. Assorted meat means when you combine different types of meat. There's beef, there's trotters, we call it cow legs too. There's tripe, the intestines of the cows inside. So we mix all sort of meats to cook the soup.
We caught up with regulars and foodies who swear by this place for a taste of home.
I'm from Malawi, but I love Nigerian food because we are all Africans.
Yes, I'm a Nigerian residing in South Africa, and I love it here. Whenever I'm homesick, only a Nigerian food can settle the score for me.
That's our show for this week. Thank you so much for watching Unwrap Africa. We're back with you 8 p.m. next Sunday right here on SABC News. Bye-bye.